So, one of the most hyped UFC debuts in recent history. I was one of them who was the most hyped for it. I was talking big about this kid in old videos, previous videos. I've said about how good Patchy Mix is and how he's definitely top three and could be a champion and is probably the biggest threat to Marab and how good he is and just talking him up. And man, it was just one of the biggest shit shows we've ever seen. Um, as the debuts go, I mean, other than getting knocked Spark out, it couldn't get much worse. But even getting knocked Spark out, you could sort of see I got caught. He just got thoroughly, I don't want to say exposed because I don't think that was a real patchy mix. I think it was a mixture of Bautista being better than we thought, Bautista actually being a bad matchup for him, and patchy mix, most of all, shitting his pants. He shit himself. That's what it comes down to. Forget octagon jitters. The kid shit his pants. And it happens. He was getting cracked off the bat. It looked like he was going to get KO'd. He was getting hit so clean and flush. I mean, if that was an O'Malley sort of kind of power hitting him, he would have been out of there for sure. Or he would have been in a lot of trouble at least. He was like a statue stuck in glue. Even someone who has never watched a fight in their life would understand, like, they'd think, why is he just standing there and getting hit? Why is he just letting this guy beat him up? He kind of went he went for the Homer Simpson style sort of technique where you just sort of absorb as many punches as you can and try and tire your opponent out. But it wasn't a 5-round fight, so that was never going to work like it would have anyway. He was flinching with his hands outstretched. He was just like doing these weird reactions when he would get hit as well, almost. And sometimes he was putting these faces like he was expecting to get hit when he didn't. It was crazy. I mean, he got severely outclassed and embarrassed on the feet. I hate to say it, but he got embarrassed. Bautista, he's the new Bellator champion. He should vacate that title and go straight for the UFC. I think this, maybe one more fight on Bautista, stick him in there because it's a fresh matchup. And I think I know he wasn't pushed to use his cardio in this fight, so to say, but I feel like Bautista is a dog and he has cardio. So I mean, I think I favour Marab in that fight, obviously, but I would like to see that fight. I would actually like to see Bautista versus Marab. I think together now, 8 and 13 fight win streak combined. So it's like, it's pretty good. I think Bautista's better than we give him credit for. I think the Aldo fight hurt him. But I mean, Patchy Mix, I mean, he didn't shoot a single takedown. He was just, it kind of almost reminded me of his girlfriend's title shot. Just got stung, hurt early, and it just went downhill from there. Do you know what I mean? Like Tatiana's fight, she just got stung, nearly knocked out early on, and he just never seemed to recover, which is it's strange because you'd think a guy who got hurt that bad and cracked like that, he'd be begging for a takedown, doing anything he can, but he didn't even shoot till I think halfway through round 3, and he had a couple of moments of success, but they were minor. It's like picking a needle in a haystack. The guy got audited. This is more than UFC jitters. I said in a video before this, I said, even if he gets beat and he gets handled, or, if he loses this fight, I'll still expect him to fight for a UFC title. I'm not so sure now because, I mean, UFC jitters and shitting yourself and then producing that performance, that's just terrible. I mean, even with jitters and shitting yourself, you should perform better than that. I mean, man, it was so disappointing because we just thought we'd have some fresh life in the division. It looked bad. It looked real bad. I mean, the UFC led this. I think they specifically picked this matchup because they thought he's a low-ranked guy in the top. He's a lower end of the top 10, not a big name, and he's a really bad matchup. The matchmakers are clever. They know what they're doing. They want him to have a loss on his first fight. So even if he goes in a streak, they can be like, yeah, we did lose that. It's all about trying to pay these guys as little as possible. So people don't realize UFC want guys to lose because it doesn't really. The loss doesn't really devalue him to the fans, but it devalues him in the negotiation room. Do you know what I'm saying? So UFC actually like guys to lose, especially guys who probably came in on a decent amount. I'm not actually sure about that because a lot of these PFL guys jumped ship before they signed with UFC, so they're basically jumping ship. Where else are they going to go? When? Obviously not. Cage Warriors or bloody KSW. No. So like they're kind of in a bad place to negotiate right off the bat because where else they're going to go? It's the only game in town. UFC is the daddy, so you got to play ball, haven't you? There's not too much to talk about with this fight. It was just shockingly bad. Shockingly bad for Patchy Mix. I actually feel for the guy because I like him. I've loved watching his fights. He's definitely better than that. But he really did not show it and he really did not do himself any favours. it was just a shocking performance. I don't really know what else to say about it. It was bad, and I mean, you can't keep taking punches like that. The amount of times you got hit clean and flush, you cannot. I mean, that he probably took more damage in that fight than he's taken in his entire Bellator career, for real. Like, that was crazy amount of damage. Like, just, you know, it might not look like it because he was taking them all flush on the jaw, so he might not have had a busted eye or bleed or been covered in blood. So I think he had a bit of blood on him, but you know, he wasn't covered. But I mean, Bautista, he was just, even the jabs Bautista was landing were just ramrod jabs. They were like telephone poles, bam, bam, smashing him in the face. I mean, this is bad. He really needs to. I think him and Tatiana, wherever they train, they need to change the striking culture. They need to change. They need to change something, because whatever they're doing in that gym, it hella sure ain't working at the UFC title level or even at the UFC upper level. I don't really know what else to say about it, but another thing I'd like to mention: Bautista didn't get an interview. I know they hate on him, but that was a really good, fun, exciting fight. Bautista just, you know, he slicked his way around, constantly put pressure on him, constantly hit him. Just, it was a really good all-round performance from Bautista. Yeah, he didn't have to fight off any takedowns or fight off his way off the cage or anything like that, or out the clinch, which would have been interesting to see. I would have rather Patchy mix it up and fight to his ability, so we could have seen a proper, you know, what really could have happened between the two of them. But I thought it was really strange how Bautista didn't get an interview. And there's no excuse for it, because there was no advert. It was the pay-per-view portion. When it's pay-per-view, they can take as long as they like. I mean, they can keep talking and talking. It's not like it's like a FS1 card or an ESPN card where they got to be like, no. DC's grabbing the mic running out because he got to go for advert break. So I thought that was a bit disrespectful. I kind of thought I was waiting to see Bautista's reaction, but he seemed to play it off and not say anything. But I thought that was real shitty of the UFC to not send someone in to talk to him. I didn't like that at all. That really put a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, the guy just won 3 great rounds against a good Tucker. I mean, the guy's technically the Bellator champion. I mean, if I was Bautista, I'd go and buy that. I would have said on that. I would have. Well, he didn't get to go on the bloody mic, did he? But if he'd got to go on the mic, I would have said, "Yeah, Joe, I'm the Bellator lightweight, the Bellator bantamweight champion. I'm vacating my belt, or actually, no, I either say I'm vacating my belt and I'm about to fight for the UFC title, or you'd be like, I'm the Bellator champ. I'm about to unify that belt with a UFC title. Let's go, Dana." Something like that. But they never gave the guy the chance. But if I was him, I'd get a AI generated image of me wearing a Bellator championship belt and say, I'm ready to defend this belt or unify with the UFC belt. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. So, yeah, man, that's what I got to say in this video. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me a comment in the comment section, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.